Alright guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're doing something a little bit different than what I normally post up on my YouTube channel. This has actually been a very highly requested video. So I finally found the time to gather everything up and then set up cameras and start filming. So in this video I'm going to be doing basically what's in my pack. But not only that, I'm going to go a little deeper into like stuff like I wear and things that I wouldn't pack in my pack on a day trip, like this sleeping bag right here. And so things like clothes and whatnot I'll probably get to last. And so we're gonna throw the sleeping bag and all my clothes, my shoes. I think it's just those things right there that I don't carry. Everything else here is actually what I carry on a solo self-filming trip. So alright, so I think the first thing we're gonna start out with is my backpack. This is the EXO Mountain Gear K2 3500 2018 model. And so this model right here is actually discontinued now. EXO Mountain Gear, they actually came out with their new line called the K3 line. But if you're looking into buying a EXO Mountain Gear pack, I think the K3s are a big improvement. Yeah, that's my backpack I'm running, no tweaks to it. And so when I go hunting, depending on what I'm hunting and my style of hunting, the biggest thing that is going to change for me is my hip belt configuration. The hip belt is so versatile and I like to have a lot of my gadgets like just ready to go. And so when I wear my backpack, the hip belt will be wrapped around my waist. Like it's an easy way for me to access things I need. So like right here, right now, I have an ammo holder pouch from Kuiu. This holds 10 of my 30-06 rounds, and so that's on my right side. And then I also have my rangefinder down here in the rangefinder pouch from Kuiu as well. And then on the left side of my hip belt, I have a little EXO Mountain Gear hip belt pouch, and in here I actually have the 4 bullets that I put in my magazine when I'm out hunting. And so I just have other things like an Allen wrench, because you don't know when you're going to need an Allen wrench. And then I also have extra handgun ammo in here. And then I also have my knife sharpener. And then the last thing I have on my hip belt configuration is a pistol holster. And so a lot of people have been asking me for that. And so this is what I carry when I'm solo hunting or whenever I feel like I just need it. This is a Smith & Wesson 45 ACP. And this one, you literally just slip it in there and you just... That's pretty much it for my hip belt configuration. Aside from the fact that I also have this this little rifle holder. This is the Kifaru universal gun bearer. So this is pretty much how I carry my gun, regardless if it's my rifle right there or my shotgun when I'm turkey hunting. I use the Kifaru universal gun bearer. For solo rifle hunting, this is kind of my go-to setup. Again, you got ammo here, my rangefinder here, and then you got just a hip pouch for whatever I want to put, and then I have my handgun, and then I have the Kifaru universal gun bearer. So I'll turn it around and I'll show you guys what I have on here. And so you guys can see, so I actually have a 3-liter Badlands water bladder inside my backpack right now, and so that's what this hose is. I also have this Peak Design camera clip. When I'm carrying my backpack, this is like a slot where I could just put my camera in, and then my camera will hang off my, like on the side of my chest. And so if you watch my videos sometimes, you'll see a little GoPro hanging to the left of my chest, and that's exactly what this is. Usually when I'm filming others, I won't have the GoPro here. I'll actually have the camera I'm using right now clipped onto here, because when I'm walking around, the camera's just hanging right there, and let's say we just encounter something, it's a super quick release and I'll just pull out the camera and I'll just start filming. That's on my left side. On the right side of my shoulder strap, this is the upper part to the Kifaru universal gun bearer. So earlier you guys could see, this is for the bottom of your rifle, and then this part up here is to strap around your rifle so that your rifle sticks up. The things that I attach to the bag, that's pretty much it. Everything else is just the things that you normally put in your backpack. And so I'm going to quickly go over what I have or what I carry with me, and then I'll show you guys how I put in my pack. So for now, we're just going to put this right here. Alright, so I also have my vinyl harness right there, but since it's its own little pack, I'll leave it separate. And so the first thing I'm going to start out with is my kill kit. So I pretty much have all my game bags, my plastic gloves, trash bags, and plastic bags and just little things like that, all airtight shut in this Ziploc bag. A lot of people actually use like actual like bags for it, but I'm cheap, so I just run a Ziploc bag and it works for me. So in here I have 2 large quarter game bags, and then I have 2 Kuiu debone game bags, and then I have 2 large trash can bags, and then I have 2 small plastic bags, and then I have 2 or 3 pairs of plastic gloves in here. That's pretty much what I carry for my kill kit. I don't carry 4 quarter game bags because a lot of times if I have to do that many trips or there's that much meat, then usually you're gonna have to make a trip back to the car, and then when you get back to the car, you can just pick up fresh game bags that's been sitting in your truck. So that's the first thing. The second one, everybody has to have it, TP. And so the next one is first aid kit. In here I've got everything for the smallest cuts to the biggest wounds that one can encounter. I'm not gonna go into detail because there's just too much to name, but yeah, first aid kit, that's something that has to go in my pack. The other one that's also a must is licenses. So this is the EXO mesh pocket, and so I just have my licenses and my lighter, just little things like that stored into this little mesh pocket here. And once I'm done showing you guys everything of what I carry, I'll show you guys how I put in my backpack. This is a rain cover. This is the Kuiu rain cover. I forgot which size it is. I forgot if it's a medium or a large. I feel like it's a medium, or it could be a large. EXO mountain gear, they don't make the external rain cover where you cover the bag. Instead, they make dry bags where it goes inside the bag. But to me, a lot of times I put my important stuff in the lid. And so even though there's a dry bag that's keeping all of my important stuff safe and dry inside the bag, the lid is still gonna get drenched. So I actually prefer an external rain cover where it just covers the pack. And so that's just preference. And then next, just little gadgets. This is a phone holder, so I could clip this onto my tripod, and then where's my phone? And then I'll show you guys. Pretty much you just put your phone in here. It's a pretty simple. You just screw it tight, and now your phone's sitting here, and then you put this on a tripod, and then your phone can take pictures. And so a lot of people actually ask me, like, what do you use to take pictures? And my honest answer is I just use my phone. Phones today are pretty high and advanced in technology, so cameras on just your phone are actually pretty good. And so the next one, it really depends on what I'm doing. So this is my GPS. This is the Garmin Rhino 755T. I also have the Onyx chip in there, so when I go out and I need to like locate what property I'm on, I have it in my GPS. I also have Onyx Maps downloaded to my phone, so I have Onyx Maps on both of my devices. And depending on the area, if it's in an area where I'm very familiar with, I actually won't carry the GPS. I'll just carry my phone along with an external battery charger, and I'll just use my phone. If I'm carrying the Rhino, then I normally don't carry this. For the most part, the GPS is with me. The next thing that I carry with me, knives. So I got a deboning knife, and I also got a skinning knife. These are actually new for me this year, so I'm actually testing out these 2 knives. I used these 2 knives to break down my black bear that I shot earlier this year, and worked flawless. So pretty excited to try it on other things. So hopefully we get to use this and put these to the test a little bit more throughout the season. Another one is my headlamp. This is the Fenix HL60R. This one, it takes a special kind of battery that I think Fenix specifically makes, so you can't like put in a AA or a AAA battery in there. It's a special and unique kind of battery, and it's only rechargeable. But the thing is, like, this rechargeable actually lasts a pretty long time as long as you don't use the highest power. So I think there's actually 5 stages of lights in here. Normally I use about the third highest power, and it lasts me quite a bit of time. If you use level 5 where it's super bright, it usually doesn't last that long, especially if it's cold. And so it's a great headlamp, but I definitely do recommend carrying a backup. So that's actually pretty much it for my backpack. Again, there's a water bladder in here. The only thing that's missing is obviously the water itself and the food. For bear season, I been carrying the spotting scope. This is the Vortex Razor 16 to 48 by 65, I believe. This is my brother's spotting scope. I wanted to borrow it for bear season, August bear season. Since his hunting season is now starting, I'm gonna give this back to him, so I won't be carrying this anymore. But this was in my pack pretty much all the time when I was bear hunting. But along with my spotting scope, I have this thing. This is the Phone Scope Universal Adapter. Usually when I'm hunting, this phone scope is actually always attached to my spotting scope. But since I'm giving this back to my brother, I just took it off. I have the phone scope case on my phone at all times. So if this is on the spotting scope, I'll just notch it on and my phone is ready to go. So I actually leave the phone scope case on my phone at all times. And so yeah, spotting scope, it's been in my backpack, but for the rest of the season, I probably won't be carrying this. Trekking poles, these are cheap trekking poles. These are the Cascade Mountain Tex aluminum ones. They've been perfect for me. So they are a little heavier because they're aluminum, but for like $30, I think they're not too bad. And so I will carry the trekking poles with me, especially if I'm solo. And so this is always what's in my pack. Again, the type of hunting I'm gonna do will definitely impact of what I carry, but for the most part, this right here and what I just showed you guys is what's always in my pack regardless of what I'm hunting. If I'm archery hunting in September, or I'm just bear hunting and I'm bored and I just want to have some fun, see if I can locate some elk, then I will carry the bugle tube. This is the Rocky Mountain Bully Bull grunt tube. I think that's what it's called, but things like this, it just depends on what I'm doing. And so the next one I'm going to jump into is my bino harness. My bino harness is essentially a second pack to me because you guys can see it's just a super big bino harness. And so this right here is the Badlands Bino XR bino harness. It's huge. It sits right here. And so last year when I was archery elk hunting, people saw me carry this bino harness like this. And a lot of people question me if it gets in the way of me drawing my bow. No, it hasn't been a problem for me. And so my string, the bow string, is actually like coming down like this. So even when I shoot, this string right here just goes back out like this instead of like leaning on top of my bino harness like this. So I haven't had a problem with it yet, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. And so in the main pouch where your binoculars go, that's just where I put my binos. So this is the Vortex Diamondback 10x42. I just slip it in there. I don't tether it because I don't like to tether my binoculars, but there is a tethering option if you want. Like, you guys look. So there are, like, you can tether it, but I don't like to tether my binoculars. So I just leave it in like this. And so on the bottom, this is especially crucial for me if I'm rifle hunting and self-filming. This is a small little cheap camcorder. This thing has like 57 times zoom. And so this is a lot of times my kill cam camera, especially if I'm shooting far. So the camera I'm using right now to film is ideal for archery hunting, or if you're shooting anything within 200 yards, 300 yards if you really push it out. Anything beyond 300 yards, you're not really gonna see what actually happens. And so whenever I'm filming 400 plus or 300 plus yards of action, this little cheap Canon HF R800 camera is my go-to. So I put it right here on the bottom pouch because it's just super convenient. And so the next feature is that there's a zipper on this side and there's also a zipper on this side. On the left side of my bino harness, I have my wind checker, and that's all that goes in there. And then on this side right here, this is where I put my extra batteries. So I typically carry this camera right here and my GoPro right here. So I would typically carry 3 GoPro batteries. I'll have 1 battery in the GoPro and then I'll have 2 extra batteries. And so those will go in here. And then I usually only carry 2 batteries for this camera, and 1 is usually on the camera, and then I have 1 extra battery. And then if you're wondering about this camera right here, this camera I don't carry a spare at all. This I just go with 1 battery on the camera because I noticed that I don't use this one a lot. And then the last thing is for my diaphragms, my elk diaphragms, these always go with me regardless of what I'm hunting. I use my elk diaphragms to turkey hunt. That's what I call turkeys with. I carry it with me when I'm bear hunting, deer hunting, elk hunting, or just whenever. I think diaphragms, you can really attract attention to whatever you're chasing, even deer. They're always with me. And so on the back side of this bino harness, there's a little pocket, just a slip-in pocket. That is exactly where I put my diaphragms. That is pretty much what goes into my backpack, and that's pretty much what goes into my vinyl harness. Again, the only thing I'm missing is like the actual water itself and just food. But in terms of water, I usually carry about 50 fluid ounces of water, and then I usually carry about 40 fluid ounces of Gatorade. That really depends on the type of hunting. If I know I'm going to be a little bit more active, or if the hunt I'm going on is a little bit more physically demanding, then I'll up the amount of water I carry. But the standard for me is 50 fluid ounces of water in my water bladder, and then 40 fluid ounces of Gatorade in a bottle. And so the next thing is my rifle. Again, I'm kind of doing the 2019 season for me, so I'm not archery hunting at all this year. So a lot of this is just mainly for my rifle setup. And so this right here is the Browning X bolt chambered in 30-06. I have the Night Force SHV 5-20 by 56 rifle scope mounted on there, and the rings I use are just the Browning X-Lock rings, which are specifically built for your Browning X-Bolt rifle. And the bipod I carry, this is the Harris bipod, 9-13 inches, I believe. At the click of a button, you can just extend your bipod legs, and this one just goes to it will just mount something like this. And so normally I do have the bipod mounted on my rifle. If you guys been following the videos, I just have it off because I was cleaning my gun and I have it separate. So the ammo I'm shooting this year is the Hornady Precision ELD-X, 178 grains for my 30-06, and it's very accurate for me, and the bullet performance is just A1. It's been good to me. So since now you guys know what I'm carrying, I'll show you guys how I put it in my backpack. So when I'm packing my pack, the first thing I want to do is I want to loosen all the straps and unclip all the buckles. So you guys can see here, like the buckles are supposed to be clipped in like this, but I like to loosen everything in my bag. These top cinches right here, I'll uncinch them. That way I have access to all the pockets I need. I'll show you guys how I packed for bear season, just because it includes the spotting scope. So when I'm carrying my backpack, what I like to do is I want my backpack to be as balanced as possible. So what that means is, like, you want your weight to not just be lopsided to one side, because if you do that, it's gonna be miserable. So all the weight's gonna be on one shoulder, and you feel like you're consistently trying to battle, like just trying not to lean so much on one side. So you want to balance it. And so what I like to do is, since I'm carrying my rifle on the Kifaru Universal Gun Bearer, that method of carrying my rifle, it shifts the weight of my backpack towards my right side, because that's the side I carry my rifle. So on the left side of my backpack, what I like to do is I like to put my spotting scope in this long sleeve right here. And then I don't have the tripod because I'm using it right now. I'll put my tripod, which I'm using right now, outside on here too. And what I've noticed is, with this spotting scope and this tripod on this side and my rifle on this side, it really balances out the backpack, so you're not leaning towards more one side, but your weight is just actually just sitting like straight down, like how it should be. You know, it's just little things like that that goes a long ways, especially when you're hiking out several miles in the mountains. So that might be a problem that a lot of you guys are experiencing. You don't know why. If your backpack is lopsided, you're going to be miserable out there. I've experienced it firsthand. So, you know, just little tweaks of putting your spotting scope on this side or this side, you know, it can really save you. I have the spotting scope in this pocket right here for bear season. Again, I would have this phone scope on it, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just putting this for demonstration. And then once I have that, I'll cinch this up like this, because that protects the spotting scope from debris getting inside there. And so already in the backpack, I have my water bladder. So you guys can see this is a 3 liter. And I put it exactly in the water bladder sleeve that EXO designed for. And so I'll just slip it in there. And then they have a little Velcro piece up here where you can just strap around the top of your water bladder and just Velcro back. And then I have my hydration hose going through that top piece where they want. And then it comes out on my left strap. I actually prefer to use the side zip to get inside the main compartment of the bag. First thing I do is I put my game bags or my kill kit way at the very bottom. So my kill kit is at the very bottom. And then on top of my game bags, that's normally where I put my food and my 2 Gatorade bottles, or my Gatorade, however I'm carrying it. And then right here, on the side right here, they have this Velcro this Velcro piece, and it's meant for your stash pockets. And I like to put my licenses up high, so I'll just Velcro it just like this. And so licenses are ready to go, and then I'll just fold it in, and boom, that's all that goes into my main bag. And next is the lid. The lid is probably the pouch or the compartment that I use the most because it's just the most convenient, and that is actually where I put a lot of my essentials. So a lot of times I'll put my headlamp in here, and so my headlamp goes into the lid. My first aid kit also goes into the lid, and TP also goes into the lid. And then I'll just throw my little phone holder adapter thing in here. And then depending on what I carry, whether it's my GPS or my charger, I'll throw it in there as well. But for the sake of this video, I'll just put my GPS in here. Now I will say, if I'm actively using the GPS because my family's out there and we're using it as a walkie-talkie, my GPS won't be in here. I'll actually have it clipped onto my vinyl harness. I'll have the GPS in here, just in my lid when I carry it, and I won't be actively using it, but I will eventually check on it to make sure that I know where I am, or if I just want to mark a location, then I'll just leave it in here. When I need to use it, I'll just pull it out, mark it, and then just put it back in here. Oh, I forgot about this. Can't forget about this. My knives also go into the main compartment of the bag. So with the EXO mountain gear, there's 2 pockets. There's also this exterior one. This is actually where I put my rain gear. I didn't cover it, but I was gonna save it for my clothing part, but this is where I put my rain gear. This is the Kuiu Teton rain jacket, and then I also put my rain cover for my pack in here as well. That's pretty much what I carry in that front pouch. This is a roll top, so I'm gonna roll this down because I normally don't access my bag through the top. I actually access it through the side more often than the top. Alright, so we got my spotting scope, we got my game bags and my knives and my food and my Gatorade inside the main compartment of the bag, as well as the water bladder. And then we have my rain stuff in this exterior pouch. And then we have my hip belt stuff, my extra bullets, my rangefinder, my pouch, and then again, when I go carry, I'll put this handgun here. This is a 45 again. That is a lot of it. Again, the thing I'm missing right here is the tripod, which I'm using. But on the other side, I don't put anything inside this sleeve right here, so I'll just cinch this up. But my trekking poles will go on the outside here, so I'll put it inside this big old pocket right here, and then I will just clip these on like this. And then I'm also just gonna clip this one down here. I'm just gonna cinch it, and I'll roll the lid over. And then I also like to buckle these 2 front straps. And then again, if I have the tripod on here, I'll buckle this out as well. But since I don't have it to show you guys right now, I'll just cinch this up for now. And so this is pretty much how I carry my backpack. I actually don't even really carry my tripod on my backpack anymore. I actually just hold it in my hand when I'm out hunting, if you guys have been following the videos. And so this is actually a pretty standard loadout for me. And so if I have a fully loaded out backpack with my rifle and my bipod and my Gatorade and my food and my water, I'm probably carrying anywhere close to 25 to 30 pounds. I know it's not necessarily the best when it comes to saving weight, but it's just one of those things. You do what you gotta do. This is why having a comfortable backpack and a heavy duty backpack is super important to me. So trust me, if I didn't have a higher end backpack where it was comfortable for me, there's no way I would be able to haul all this gear with me. But the EXO mountain gear has been phenomenal to me. That's the only reason why I'm actually able to carry this much weight on a daily and consistent basis. Yeah, that's pretty much what's in my backpack. Other than my tripod missing and my GoPro right here with the little mini tripod, there's not much else to it. And so that is what's in my pack on a standard solo self-filming rifle hunt in Eastern Washington. Again, I do have my rifle, so my rifle is supposed to go in there as well, but you guys get the point, and the bipod. The last thing I want to cover is my clothing system, which is right here, and I guess my shoes as well. I guess I'll just cover this as well. For my sleep system, a lot of times if I go sleep overnight somewhere, I'll carry my sleeping bag with me. This is the Badlands 10 degree regular sized Cinder synthetic sleeping bag. This thing has worked phenomenal to me. The only downfall with it is you guys can see it's pretty bulky, so it's not ideal for backpacking. But if you're just sleeping in the car or you're just sleeping at a camp, this thing is pretty good. I haven't tested this in 10 degree weather, but I've tested this in about 20 degree weather sleeping at night, and I've been plenty warm with just a t-shirt and shorts. And so just in case you guys are wondering what I carry for my sleeping bag, that's what I use. That's kind of off topic, but I just wanted to show you guys. Alright, so this year I decided to try Kuiu clothes, so that's why you guys will see here all I have is just Kuiu clothes. This took me about 2.5 years to build, so I didn't just purchase this at once. I wish I had the money to do that, but I don't. So when it came to purchasing a layering system, I wanted a layering system that was going to be the best for my style of hunting here in Eastern Washington, and a layering system that was going to be able to take me from hunting in the heat in August all the way through the cold in November and December. So I think that the system that I bought off of Kuiu is actually going to be able to do that phenomenally, because if my Walmart setup back then worked, I have no doubt that this is going to work. The first thing I want to cover is my base layer for my top. This right here is what I've been wearing in some of the hunts if you guys have been following along. This is the Kuiu Merino 145 zip tee. This is my first time ever testing Merino, and so far I've got to say Merino stands up to the hype. Is it the best Merino out there? I have no idea, because this is the only Merino piece I have aside from the Kuiu Merino 145 zip off bottom. So these two are the same fabric, 145. It's just that one is the base layer for my legs and one is the base layer for my top. So this I probably won't even wear until like October for rifle mule deer season, but so far I used it, and man, I'm gonna tell you guys that the zip off sides are a total game changer. Any company that does not implement this side zip on their base layers is, in my opinion, behind Kuiu. And so that's my base layer, Kuiu Merino 145 zip tee and 145 base layer or zip off. Just my accessories. This is the Peloton 200 gloves. This is no longer in production. This is one of my first purchases from Kuiu, and so far they've held up great. The only downfall with my right glove is, if you guys look at it, my thumb is sticking out. That is because I took this glove fishing, and when I was using a bait caster, when you throw with a bait caster, I like to thumb the line, and smart me, I thumbed it with my glove and it just cut a hole right in there. So not Kuiu's fault, that was just my bad. There was a hole and the hole just consistently got bigger, so I just decided to cut it and just kind of burn the outer edges. That way the hole couldn't get any bigger. But other than that, to me, I feel like the Peloton 200 gloves is the perfect weight for the style of hunting I do. It's not so thick where it's super warm to hike around in. It's also not light to the point where it doesn't provide insulation. So that's my gloves. My neck gaiter. This is the Peloton 97 fleece. And so when I go hunting, I rely heavily on sounds and listening and trying to hear things. And so where I wear a hood, it muffles that. So I don't like wearing a hood. So when it's too cold, I'll wear a beanie just to cover the top of my ears, but it doesn't muffle my hearing at all. And then I'll wear my neck gaiter, and it'll cover the bottom of my ears, but it's at the same time it doesn't muffle my hearing. So instead of wearing a full-on hood, I prefer wearing a beanie to cover the top of my ear, and then I prefer to wear a neck gaiter to cover the bottom of my ear. And usually with that, I have no problem withstanding the cold. This is probably the favorite piece from Kuiu, even though I like all of them. This is the Peloton 240 hooded. I actually am not a fan of the hood because the shape of the hood is just not it just doesn't fit my head right. So a lot of times if I wear the hood over my hat, it rides up on my armpits and the shoulders kind of rise because the hood isn't built tall enough for me. I guess I just have a big head or something, but I normally don't wear the hood. I do like the hood when we're sitting down and we're taking a nap and there's a bunch of flies. I'll just take off my hat and I'll wear my hood over it, and I'll put my hat in front of my face. And so that's about the only time I will wear the hood on this Peloton 240. But this thing, man, I just love it. I think it's the perfect weight for a mid layer. I have yet to find a mid layer that competes with the Peloton 240, because one, that's probably just because I haven't tried anything else yet. But Peloton 240, my mid layer, that's been pretty much what I've been wearing this whole season. And then the second one, when it gets colder in October, rifle deer season, and maybe November for lake season, this is the Kuiu Teton insulated jacket. This is one of my first purchases from Kuiu, and this thing is still going strong, and this is also one of my favorites, man. Like, everything from Kuiu here I love. But this thing right here, it's warm even when you're sitting down, but even when you're active, it breathes very well, and you can still, you know, actively move without over sweating or overheating. The next one is just, again, my rain jacket. This is the Kuiu Teton rain jacket. I believe it is now replaced with the Kuiu Northridge, if I'm not mistaken. This thing is just a super lightweight rain jacket, super packable. And so once again, this rain jacket is always in my pack. I just pulled it out just to show you guys that that's what I use. I also do have the guide jacket, but I don't think I'm going to use the guide jacket because I've worn it and I don't think there's really a need for the guide jacket in my hunting system. It's a good jacket, but I just don't find the need for the guide jacket. So the next one is my pants. So I'm actually wearing one right now. This is the pants you guys have been seeing me wear throughout the August bear hunting season. This is the Kuiu Tiburon pant. This is in the Loden color, I believe, and this thing has just been phenomenal. I've hunted in 80, 90 degree weather, and this thing with the side vents, money. But as we progress later into the season, I'm probably gonna switch over to this one. This is the Kuiu Attack pants. I've worn this one on one of my hunts last year during late season, and it's perfect. I love the fit of this pant. It's a very athletic fit, and so I'm a big fan of this one. Again, I probably won't wear this one until November, or unless September just hits a cold front and just drops off in temperature. And so I do have the Merino 145 zip off, so if it does get a little cold, I can definitely layer this under my Tiburon pant. For the most part, I'm just gonna move to the Kuiu Attack pants. And so yeah, that's gonna wrap up my 2019 clothing system. Next thing I want to cover is my footwear. So this year I went with the Darn Tough Vermont Hunter Micro Crew socks. I believe that's what it called. So these are like a merino wool blend, and these things have been fantastic. I've hunted, again, I've worn these in August bear hunting, and I've hunted in some pretty hot weather, and my feet don't over sweat in this. It does a great job wicking moisture away from your feet, and as well as drying it. And so I only have one pair, but I'm gonna order probably 2 or 3 extra pairs here pretty shortly. These are the Crispi Crossover Pro Light GTX. I think these are probably the cheapest boots that Crispi makes, but I actually like these ones the most because I don't like a boot that rides super high up your ankle. So I've had this for over a year now, still completely waterproof. I don't have any like major tears or leaks or holes in it, just your regular, you know, scratches here and there and just normal signs of wear and tear. But this thing has been perfect, and so that's my footwear. I also have the Kuiu Yukon Gaiters and the Kuiu Scree Gaiters. I don't have it here, but those are also a part of my footwear system. What I'm missing right now is the camera I'm using right now, and the mic and the tripod. And so yeah, this right here is the GoPro Hero 6 Black, and then this is also just a cheap Gorilla tripod that you can like wrap around tree limbs and stuff like that. And the camera I'm using right now is the Sony AX33. I also have the Rode Video Micro mic attached to it, and so the audio you guys hear right now is coming through that. And then the tripod I'm running right now, which is what you guys are set up on, is the Vanguard 233 AP tripod. And so again, that tripod is going to go right here if I'm not holding it in my hand. That's pretty much going to do it. So hopefully that answers all the questions that you guys have been wondering. I actually have to pack here because I leave on a hunting trip tomorrow, so it was like a perfect time to get all my gear pack up. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned. We got a lot of fun stuff coming in the 2019 hunting season. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.